So Disney canceled the annual pass program and all hell broke loose. The skies opened up, Chicken Little's doing his thing, cats and dogs living together.
Mass hysteria!
But a recent survey that Disney sent out to annual pass holders suggests that that is absolutely not the case, that annual passes are still front and center in the minds of Disney executives. It may not be like it was, but this survey suggests that they are coming back. So we're going to look at that survey and see just what it means for the future of the annual pass program. All that coming next on Fresh Baked. Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Fresh Baked. So yeah, how about those annual passes? Crazy, right? Even crazier, though, is this survey that I just took. It was a doozy. And I think it's going to tell us quite a bit about what Disney has in store for annual passes once they have the opportunity to do so. So, without further ado, let's go take a look. Now, before we do get going, I want to ask that you help show your support of our channel by watching as much of this video as possible. It's going to be a bit long, so we got a lot to cover, but the more you watch, the more YouTube shares the video with new viewers, so I'd appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. Okay, now we'll start with the understanding that everything is framed around the calendar year following the parks being fully open. And by fully open, that means no restrictions such as eating or drinking, and likely no capacity limits as well. So that means that this program probably won't be in play, for example, the summer of 2021. I'm thinking maybe 6-12 months after that. It all depends really on how the virus goes. So with that said, the question is, according to the survey, how will you spend that first year? This again is an important distinction, as it tells you that the plan they're formulating is not permanent. It's a post-COVID plan, and so subject to change in the years that follow. The survey starts with a slow walk into questions that you probably consider to be typical for this type of conversation. How often would you expect to visit each park? Are you currently a pass holder for any park? What kind of Disneyland AP did you have? What was your overall experience with the passes that you had? How likely are you to renew your annual pass? How do you feel about being a pass holder? And then this. This is an example screen of the true guts of this survey. It is a beast. But at the top of the screen, we're asked, imagine Disneyland Resort in California reopens. They're asking us to imagine. For real, we can't go to the parks right now. It is closed. But in the land of make-believe, where we get to pretend such things, imagine that you could get to go back to Disneyland. What world is this? Imagine Disneyland Resort in California reopens and you are planning to purchase enough admission for the entire upcoming year for you and your household. Now again, that's the entire year, and this didn't quite register for me at first because I always just got a pass. I didn't plan anything. There's nothing for me to plan. One decision and I'm done. But there are going to be options ahead that do give us a little flexibility, a chance to buy more, for example, than just a 3-day ticket, but not an entire pass. It's kind of interesting. But let's not get ahead. There are 13 different screens just like this one, each with a few choices for annual passes, single-day tickets, multi-day tickets, and others, which, as I mentioned, we'll see in a minute. And each screen is both similar and wildly different than the others. It would appear that they're not simply trying to determine what kind of annual pass you want to buy, but what kind of program, overall program do you want? What collection of annual passes, single-day tickets, reservation windows, blackout days, parking, max pass, merchandise, discounts, etc., etc. Let's look at the first one and try to make a decision, and then we'll skim through the rest and see what we can learn. Okay, so this first one, 4 annual pass types and 3 single or multi-day ticket types. There's a blackout calendar for each, of course, like we're used to. Note, one of them does have no blackout days. It's completely green. So that means that the idea, you can go any day of the year, anytime you want, is still a possibility. That's still a thing. Next option is the reservation window. How far in advance can you reserve a visit? 30 days, 60, 120 days? Next is how many reservations you can hold at a time. And for you FlexPass holders, I believe it was just 2. This is similar, as we mentioned, to FlexPass, where you could hold, I think, up to 2 reservations. Here our options are 4 or 6. Here's a new perk, anytime reservations. These can be used anytime. I guess that is anytime without a reservation. And another new perk, 2 tickets that can be used even if you're blocked out. That's a neat little thing. This is interesting. Friends and family tickets. Here we can get either none or two, but I assume this means that you can bring a friend with you and their ticket is paid for? Well, well, well. I guess that perk that a lot of annual pass holders have been asking for just might become a thing. An entrance that's separate from the turnstiles. They get to skip that and go through maybe a side gate or a separate turnstile. Personally, this has never been a problem for me. I've never had to wait for more than 15 minutes, even during the worst of times, like Rise of the Resistance. But for some people, it's very annoying waiting in that line. But again, for me, I don't think that's a big deal. Not a big selling point, but that's an interesting perk. So which to choose? Pass 1 is $7.99. Pass 2 is $3.99, very affordable. Lots of blockout days, though. This looks a lot like your SoCal Select Pass. No weekends, no summers, no Christmas. Pass 3 is $13.99, no blockout days at all. That actually looks a lot like the Signature Plus Pass. Pass 4, same price, but strangely, same blockout calendar as the SoCal calendar. And just a 30-day window. You do get the 2 blockout tickets, and you can schedule up to 6 reservations at a time. But I have to ask, at $13.99, who's going to get this pass? Really, the only benefit it holds over the SoCal type pass is the 2 blockout tickets. But for an extra $1,000? I mean, it includes parking, which is not insignificant. That could run you up to $1,000 depending on how often you go to the park. But for $13.99, I'm just going to go ahead and get the pass 3 every single time. Why give up those days? I almost feel like this is a trick question. That's bizarre. Okay, next one. This time only 2 annual pass options, but a 3-day multi-visit ticket. A multi-day visit ticket looks to be something that is good for a year, whereas the normal day tickets are good for just 13 days. Note though, on this one, that they're good only for the first 4 months of the year. Then it's entirely blocked out. Who's this for? Okay, both annual passes have no blockout days, but one is $11.99, the other is $3.99. And it looks like they're asking you to pay the extra $800 for the ability to reserve up to 120 days in advance rather than just the 30 days, which is interesting. Interesting how much value they are giving that ability. It suggests to me that they're expecting to be at capacity often. Is that what they're thinking? And therefore those tickets, those reservations would be really competitive. And you want to have, I guess, further advanced. Oh man, I wonder. That's tricky. Something to think about. Okay, next screen shows that one ticket option I teased earlier, a 12-day multi-visit ticket, good for a year and 12 visits. And there's a decent blockout calendar, not like the other one with just the 4 months. And at $7.99, that's $66 a ticket. That's a pretty good value and a possible alternative to an annual pass, in the event that they don't offer them right away, and they offer something like this. That's the way I would probably go to the park at $66 a ticket versus 100 plus. Otherwise, 3 annual passes, and interestingly, the one with no blockout days at $11.99 is cheaper than the one with blockout days at $13.99. Obviously, you can see what I value in an annual pass. I value days above all else. I want to be able to go any day I want. I don't like blockout days at all. So it's interesting that that's not necessarily the case for everybody, which I think we're going to see more of as we keep going. Yeah, so the difference here being that the 2 anytime tickets and the blockout day ticket and an extra 20% off of merchandise. And as I just mentioned, this is a great example of how Disney may be trying to create more flexibility, more options with its AP program. Today, the differences between the passes is essentially blockout days. That's it. More days, more cost. What you're paying for is the ability to go more often. As I mentioned, I value a wide open calendar more than anything, but clearly that is not the case for every pass holder. At least Disney doesn't think so. The pass I'm looking at, I don't care about merchandise discounts. 10%, 20%, 30%, it doesn't matter to me. I don't buy a lot of merchandise. I just want to go whenever I want. This pass is for me. Whereas this other one that has blockout days, you're trading that for that 20% off. hopefully you can make up the cost, I guess, because I don't want to lose those days. All right, let's try to stream through these now and see what stands out. This collection does not have any calendars with no blockout days. Even the premium one is blocked out almost the entire summer and most weekends. Crazy. Who is this for? Trick questions. Next, here's another one where the no blockout day pass is just $7.99, where the $13.99 pass compares somewhat to the signature pass. It's the extra 90 days for reservations, and looky here, free max pass, where the other one does not, the one for $7.99. And again, it feels like they're trying to figure out what we value most by assigning extraordinary value to a single feature like the max pass. They're trying to figure out if that's something that we really need in our annual pass. For example, in this group, Pass 4, that's me, that's my pass. Someone who wants to go a lot without restriction, but isn't necessarily there for the rides. That's me. I don't mind waiting in standby. I don't want to pay $600 for a max pass. It's not worth it to me. So if I have a chance to save that, I'm going to by skipping that and just getting the wide open calendar. But if you choose Pass 3, the one that does have max pass included, then that's the observation that Disney's going to make from your decision. I really don't like seeing groups with no wide open calendar. Yikes, that scares me. But they're all quite affordable. This collection again appears to be weighted for max pass. This one is wild. Pass 2 is wide open, but just 20% off parking. And there's no max pass, while Pass 4 costs $200 more, but has lots of blockout days, but it does include parking and max pass and photo pass, and even that bougie entrance is included. I did some quick math. I can't get a pass that doesn't include parking. Like in this case, 25 bucks I think it is per visit. If I go once a week, 25 times 50 something is $1,000 plus. So don't sleep on the parking being included in your annual pass if you go as often as I do, or something like that. If you want to go all the time, don't sleep on the parking. Okay, here we've got a 12-day and a 5-day multi-visit ticket. And wow, that's a wide open annual pass for $3.99 that includes max pass, but again, not parking. Well, that's a great deal. But like I said, go ahead and add 25 times, however many times you want to visit the park. You'll also still get 6 anytime tickets and a reasonable 90-day window. This really does seem kind of too good to be true. I feel like this pass won't see the light of day. Here's a group where every pass is $3.99. Wild again. Okay, here's one. Wide open is $9.99. A SoCal looking calendar is $13.99 with only parking and a rewards program. And actually, this is the first we've talked about this, the reward program, but it's something that Ken Potrock teased in his update regarding the program being canceled. I don't recall if they went into detail about the reward program in the intro to this survey, but my understanding is that it's just like it sounds. The more you go, the more you spend, the more points you earn, and those points can be used for stuff that's exclusive to an annual pass holder, merchandise or maybe extra days. I'm not sure. I'll need to follow up on that. Certainly, though, they're giving this a lot of value in this group, so it does seem like the rewards program is something that might have a little more clout, a little more weight than what we've been accustomed to with annual passes, like AP days and stuff like that, which aren't particularly valuable in my opinion. And that's it. That's all of them. Well, mostly all. I skipped a few, but do stay tuned for the end of the video where I'll put each one up for a few seconds and you can kind of pause and review them more closely if you're into that kind of thing. And then the survey ends with a few more interesting questions. I answered strongly agree to all of them. Then there's how many days do you predict you will go? What kind of ticket did you use in 2019? I kind of thought they asked that already. How did you pay for it? Oh, here's a question that may interest you. What would you do if there was no payment plan? Would you not get a pass? Would you get a cheaper pass? Or would you keep the one you have and pay the full price? Interesting, they don't actually say that. I paraphrase there, pay the full price. It doesn't even say that. They're avoiding saying it out loud that you have to pay for the whole thing up front, but that's exactly what that means. And that's a fascinating question, one that I would love to know the answer to. I'd love to see the data on that. And there's probably going to be a difference between what people say they're going to do and then what they actually do when the time comes to pay for the pass. Because if you want the pass like I'm looking at, that's $13.99, you got to come with $1,399 ready to go. And finally, under what conditions would you come back to the park? As soon as they open, but only if there were safety protocols? As soon as they open, no matter what, just open the gates? Only if there are treatments widely available for COVID? Never. Or only after the vaccine is widely available? It's a wide-ranging survey. It's comprehensive, thoughtful, thought-provoking. Only one thing was missing. Not once were we asked what we would do if there were no annual passes. There were no collections of possible tickets in that survey that did not include an annual pass. This can only mean, like I said at the opening of this video, that annual passes are still front and center on the minds of Disney executives. They are still in play. It's confirmation that Disney canceled the annual pass program not because the park is too crowded. A park, by the way, that is not open. Crowds are not a problem right now and won't be a problem for months to come. So that's not at the front of their minds. Crowds are not at the front of their thinking right now. No, the annual pass program was canceled so they could reboot it, so they could do something like this. It'll be a while before they come back. It won't be right away, but it's gonna look a lot like the Flex program, a lot like what we just saw. One of those 13 options is very much, or very likely to be the case a year from now, let's say. And I know, seeing all that is a lot to take in right now, but let us know your thoughts, FreshBaked. I want to hear your thoughts on all of this. Let us know in the comments below, and otherwise, thank you guys very much for watching. Please do subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. You can also follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked and on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney. That's fresh with no E. And if you're a fan of the show, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. There are links below to all of that in the description. And again, do stay tuned after I finish wrapping this up to take a look at, to examine all the different possibilities that they let us see, all the different annual passes, all the perks and all that. You can pause it and kind of review them at your leisure. Otherwise, thanks again very much, guys. We love you. Please take care, please be safe, and be kind to one another. And we'll see you next time. FreshBaked!